The Mavericks are back at it after the All-Star break as they welcome in Zion Williamson and the New Orleans Pelicans. We'll get you ready for tonight's game. Coming up next on the DLLS Mavs pregame show. Here we go. Hey, what's up, DLLS Mavs Nation? It's your man, Kevin Gray, alongside Mavericks analyst Bobby Carella. We are DLLS Mavs, your favorite guys, covering your favorite team every single game night. Really appreciate you joining us here on DLLS Sports. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to DLLS Sports while you're here, and download our podcast wherever you get your podcasts for free. Make sure you give it a 5-star rating and write a review for it while you're there. The Mavericks are back in action tonight as they resume their schedule, taking on Zion Williamson and the New Orleans Pelicans. Game number 57 on tap for your Mavericks as they complete their 5-game homestand. We'll get you ready for tonight's game over the course of the next half hour. Who's in, who's out, some X factors, and our Mavericks player spotlight, as well as Bobby Carella, the Dallas Mavericks, who have won 4 of their last 5 games, coming into tonight's game looking to continue that pre-All-Star break momentum as they take on a Pelicans team as the Mavericks look to clinch the season series tonight against New Orleans.
Basketball is back. Felt like this All-Star break lasted like a year and a half. But it's back, baby. We got a game.
We do got a game.
Tim Cato's at the arena. Mark Stein is at the arena. We're doing the thing again, KG.
We are doing the thing again, and we are back for sure. Positivity Mavs homer coming tonight when it comes to the Dallas Mavericks taking on the New Orleans Pelicans as we get ready to welcome in our guy, Tim Cato, live from the American Airlines Center. Oh,
there he is.
There he is. That's right. You can find him on X at Tim_Cato. Tim, what's going on?
Pretty good, guys. Plugging in my laptop. Just make sure it doesn't die on you guys. Be the worst thing I could imagine. Not getting a full 15 minutes to chat with you guys.
Well, we appreciate you making the time to get your stuff plugged in and helping us out here on the pregame show. We'll get more to Tim here in just a moment. Let's get you set up for tonight's game a little bit as we get you caught up on not only Jason Kidd's pregame press conference comments, but also looking ahead to tonight's game. Game number 57 for your Mavericks tonight as they take on Zion Williamson and the Pelicans. The Mavericks are, of course, coming into tonight's game 30-26 on the year, 17-11 at the American Airlines Center. Meanwhile, the Pelicans just 13-42 on the season, 4-23 away from the Smoothie King Center in New Orleans. Shout out to The Rock. He's in New Orleans tonight with WWE SmackDown. Mavericks 5.5-point favorite at home over the Pelicans with the over-under at 237.5 for tonight's game. Mavericks come into tonight 8th in the Western Conference, sitting a game and a half behind the Los Angeles Clippers for the 6th seed in the West. Have won 2 straight, 4 of their last 5, and are 6-4 overall in their last 10 games. Currently 3-1 on their 5-game homestand, looking to finish up that homestand with a win tonight against the Pelicans. So far this year, the Mavericks 17-8 against teams below 500, 21-18 overall against the Western Conference in 39 games. After tonight, they'll have a quick 2-game road trip beginning on Sunday with the Golden State Warriors, and then the matchup on Tuesday night with Luka Doncic and the Los Angeles Lakers in Tinseltown. Meanwhile, the Pelicans come into tonight dead last in the Western Conference, 1-9 in their last 10 games, 7-26 against the Western Conference so far this year, with the worst point differential in all of the West. New Orleans, though, did win their final game before the All-Star break, which was a 140-133 win over the Sacramento Kings, snapping what was a 10-game losing streak for the Pelicans prior to the All-Star break. They'll play 5 of their next 7 games on the road, which starts tonight with the Mavericks. They'll be back on home on Sunday to begin a baseball series with the San Antonio Spurs. Tim, a team in Dallas looking to continue what was some good momentum prior to the break, will look to do so against a team in the Pelicans trying to get a win of their own on the road tonight.
Yeah, the good news for Dallas is that PJ Washington is back. He's going to be available tonight. No meaningful minutes restriction.
Sorry. That was I think that must have been a car or a siren or something.
No, that's all you.
Oh.
Yeah, that's bizarre. I couldn't hear anything over here.
Oh. Me neither.
Yeah. So PJ Washington is in, and Jason Kidd said that Kessler Edwards is likely gonna, he's gonna remain the starter. He's gonna be the 5. PJ's gonna be next to him, and Dallas also now for the next 5 games has Moses Brown, someone Jason Kidd complimented. It's not going to be, he's obviously not instantly inserting him into the starting lineup. I thought it was interesting that Jason Kidd said he's a guy, if you leave him out there, he can get you a double-double. I think the counting stats has never been Moses Brown's issue. And I think what we're looking at is a more reduced role. But I would be surprised if he doesn't, get into the game at some point in the first or second quarter. He is a more proven veteran than Kyler Kelly, who Dallas signed as emergency two-way depth. And then Jason Kidd just didn't really see the ability to put him out there. So Moses Brown has played under Jason Kidd before. He will get a look. How many minutes, is to be determined. Because I think we're also going to see PJ at the 5 as a small ball guy. I think Dallas is going to prefer to have Kessler Edwards and Olivier Maxence Prosper on the court when that happens. They want to make sure there's still a lot of size out there. But having PJ back obviously just helps a lot more based off what we had been watching just before the break when Dallas was down literally every center.
And you're right, Luke. I am very excited that PJ Washington is back. The agenda is alive and well once again after missing the last 3 games. Did Washington with the right ankle sprain. So, yes, I'm definitely excited to see Mr. Washington back on the floor and excited for these Mavericks to see if they can still attain their goals that they have for themselves coming into the year. Jason Kidd talking yesterday to the media. I asked him, I said, do you still feel like with 26 games left, Jason, that this team's goals is still in front of them when it comes to the rest of the regular season? Here's what Jason Kidd had to say about that.
Yeah, I would say that our goals are still attainable. It's a matter of can we get healthy? But we're going to take one game at a time. We're not looking past New Orleans. We'll play them tomorrow, and we got to find a way to win. They had a big game against Sacramento, so they got a couple guys over there that can score the ball, and they're well coached by Willie. So we're just taking one game at a time, and yeah, we would love to attain that goal of winning a championship, but there's 26 games to be played before that.
And Bobby, that's the kind of positive momentum that this team is looking to carry into tonight as they take on a Zion Williamson-led Pelicans team that has gotten after them and can get after them in the paint as we get to your scouting report on tonight.
Yeah, one quick stat right off the rip. Home teams are only 5-5 since the All-Star break ended. Of course, that's only 10 games. There are a lot of games that are underway tonight, but you would think coming out of the break, you're rejuvenated, you're ready to rock and roll, but then anybody that watched, for example, that Lakers game the other night, the Lakers came out really flat. So too did the Hornets, but there's a lot of turnovers, a lot of mistakes. Then last night, kind of the same thing across the league too. So can they come out with some intent? Can they come out looking good, looking sharp, looking crisp, play more like they did, for example, after that really long layoff before the Warriors game back in December, whenever they looked incredible. This season, a career low 36.8% of Zion's field goal attempts have come from within 3 feet of the rim. That is a career low by far. And a career low 89% of them have come from within 10 feet, which is important because in the last 10 games, Mavs opponents have scored at least 50 points in the paint 8 times, at least 60 points in the paint 5 times. This season, Dallas is just 11-16 when opponents score at least 50 points in the paint. So the more stuff Zion does, the worse, because obviously those are easy shots, and then you have to start loading up the paint. Then Trey Murphy gets open for 3, and then you're getting cooked from outside and inside. This season, the Pelicans are 4-26 when they score fewer than 15 second chance points. So control the glass. Hard to do, though. In the last 2 games that Daniel Gafford, opponents have scored 58 second chance points total, Tim. Every single rebound has been super duper hard to come by. And of course, contesting shots at the rim has been even harder because there's just no size out there. So another reason why PJ's return is a sight for sore eyes.
Yeah, he helps. He helps. I mean, it's not a cure-all. Nothing is totally fixed. Dallas is still without its, top 3 centers. Dwight Powell remains out. I know you guys. I don't know if we're going to get to the injury report or not with Stein, but sorry to jump ahead. But Dallas does not have anybody. They don't have their preferred guys. But you'd rather at least have PJ if this is the situation that you're cast with, and he's going to help. I don't know if there's any solution to Zion Williamson. We'll see about that. Yves Missi being back for the Pelicans. He was questionable going into tonight. So, Dallas thought that maybe they would catch a break. But this is one of the teams that has more interior pressure. They put more rim pressure on you as a team, and that's going to be the challenge tonight. That is just objectively going to be, what Dallas is going to have to figure out one way or the other. Or on the flip side, if it's not working defensively, this might be a game you just got to outscore them.
That gets us to our lead story for tonight's game. The question being, can the Mavericks continue their pre-All-Star break momentum? We mentioned it a little bit earlier. Mavericks have won 4 of their last 5 games coming into this now post-All-Star break schedule. And really just a DeMar DeRozan stop away from being on a 5-game winning streak going into tonight's game after losing that tough one in overtime to the Sacramento Kings. Dallas still feels like their goals are in front of them coming into tonight's game, but at the same time, it's going to be difficult without the big men that we've talked about with PJ Washington coming back. Still going to be missing their 3 main centers. The question being, Bobby, how does this team continue to forge on, even with the significant injuries, to make this something moving forward here in the last 26 games, a positive ones they look to try and get to the top 6 of the West here?
A lot of guys on the team, in the absence of having a ton of playmaking, like a ton of passing, a ton of shot creators, a lot of guys on the team are just stepping up and kind of making it themselves. Max Christie is trying to take guys off the bounce. Najee still does that. He had that big go-ahead shot in the win against the Warriors, right? ? In addition to Kyrie, obviously, Dante Exum coming back has been huge. So everybody is attacking all the time. And that's really important. I mean, this is a Pelicans team that they have Jose Alvarado, who's going to be really annoying for Kyrie to go up against tonight. But otherwise, no Herb Jones. Whatever your opinion is of DeJounte Murray as a defender, he's at least long for a guy that plays his position. Certainly a better defender than somebody like CJ McCollum. So the Pelicans have a pretty weak defense.
You don't have to worry about Murray though.
Yeah, no, Murray's out.
Yeah.
I mean, they're weak, they're injured, they're vulnerable, and so if you can stay aggressive, stay confident, keep attacking, there are a lot of points to be had. I mean, Zion and Yves on the offensive end are monsters around the rim, but on the defensive end, they're just 6'7", 6'8". So, they're not huge. You can go get points if you can just keep your pedal to the metal.
I think this might be a shootout. This does have the feeling of a shootout. Everybody's legs are rested coming out of the All-Star break. Threes may go down a little bit easier, especially from role players. So we'll see. That might be Dallas's path to win, even as they continue to battle with a bit less size, a little bit less height than they're accustomed to.
Yeah, it was a high-scoring affair the last time these two teams got together, and what was a 137-136 win for the Mavericks on the road over in New Orleans. Of course, that game was back on January 29th. PJ Washington loomed large in that game. 25 points, 14 rebounds, and 8 assists in that contest. Kyrie Irving also had 25 points in the win as the Mavericks look to clinch the season series tonight, leading 2-1 in the season series. We'll look to get that third win tonight, having won 2 out of the first 3 games against the Pelicans. We mentioned it a little bit offensively. The Pelicans are going to be led by Zion Williamson, averaging over 24 points per game. CJ McCollum averaging nearly 23 points per game on the season. Trey Murphy III has been really good this year as well, averaging over 22 points per game. In fact, the last time these two teams got together, my man dropped 32 points against the Dallas Mavericks, went a perfect 8 from 8 in the 2-point range. It was really efficient, going 13 to 17 overall from the field, went 5 of 9 from downtown in that game. Defensively, the guys I mentioned, Yves Missi, the rookie out of Baylor, Tanner, leading the New Orleans Pelicans, averaging 8 boards per game and nearly 1.5 blocks per contest so far this year. Kyrie Irving going to lead the charge, though, for your Dallas Mavericks tonight, averaging nearly 25 points per game so far this year. Klay Thompson shooting nearly over 39% from the three-point line. Max Christie's been really good in his first 6 games as a Maverick, averaging over 17 points per game. They will need him tonight as well as they take on the Pelicans. Looking forward to this one tonight as it should be a lot of fun at the American Airlines Center with the Mavericks back in action, looking to make a push to the playoffs after the All-Star break. We will have Tim Cato joining us during our post-game show as well before he heads out to the West Coast to take on the assignment of covering the Mavericks when they take on the Warriors and the Los Angeles Lakers coming up on Sunday and on Tuesday. So we look forward to talking to you, Tim, post-game here on the DLLS Mavs post-game show.
See y'all then.
Bye, Tim.
That's our Mavericks beat writer, Tim Cato. You can find him on X at Tim_Cato. Coming up here in just a moment, we'll be joined by our national NBA insider, Mark Stein, preparing for tonight's game. Dirk Nowitzki talking Luka Doncic and the trade, his thoughts, where he was and how he has felt since that trade. Dirk Nowitzki speaking tonight. We'll hear what he had to say through Mark Stein. But before that, let's talk to you a little bit about Sleeper.
My sleeper pick of the night. Well, first, folks, act fast, all right? Because on Sleeper, there is a I want to get the verbiage right on this, so I want to wait until the video conveniently appears next to me. You can, for free, just add a 25% payout boost. It's a limited time thing. I think it's 5 hours left, so get this in before tip-off. I think Zion is going to score at least 20 points. I think Kyrie is going to score at least 20 points. I'm kind of with Tim. I think there's going to be a lot of offense in this game and not as much defense. Trey Murphy for the Pelicans, that dude, I feel like he's a lifetime 92% three-point shooter against the Mavs. So I think he's going to score 20 points pretty easily. And Mad Max, I feel like he's going to score at least 15, but I'm playing it safe. I'm playing it safe with at least just 10 points.
Scare money don't make money, Bobby.
I know, KG, but I'm trying to uphold my reputation as under promising and over delivering on the Max Christie hype. Okay, so with the 25% payout boost with Sleeper, the more you pick, the more you can win. My multiplier is 2.17. But with that 25% payout boost, my $5 play would actually net me $13.56 in profit. And with Sleeper, you can withdraw that money right away. So if I win, next one's on me, boys. Right after the post-game show is over, promo code DLS Mavs, play $5, get $55 operational in over 25 states.
Happy picking with Sleeper tonight as a busy night in the association. Let's bring in our national NBA insider, Mark Stein. You can dial up the Stein line at the Stein line as the Mavericks hosted New Orleans Pelicans tonight, looking for their 31st win of the season. Mark, appreciate you taking the time to join us here on our pregame show. Rare pregame show appearance from Dapper Stein tonight. I appreciate you hanging out with us. How we doing?
Well, I really think it was a must tonight. Crazy circumstances because our friends at the Ticket are having their annual ticket stop, which they hold every February. And they signed up Dirk to be the headliner spokesman for this event. And one of the first things Dirk said tonight when he was up on stage was, when I agreed to this gig, I don't think any of us expected a Luka Doncic trade. Dirk had not publicly commented on the trade since it happened. I certainly tried to get a public comment from him. He really wasn't ready to discuss it, and I'm not sure we would have heard from him had he not had this pre-scheduled appearance. But obviously our friends at the Ticket went right to him, asked him about it, and he talked at length about he was as shocked as everyone else. He was in the Maldives away with his family, 12 hours ahead, I think is what he said in terms of time difference. Family's about to go to lunch, and his world was rocked and shocked, just like all of us. He had no advance warning that this was happening. So really couldn't believe it. Those were Dirk's exact words, and I'm sure the audio and video of the appearance will start to make the rounds as the night unfolds, and I really think you got to watch all of it because Dirk was up there on stage talking about this thing, and I think he's coming to grips with it, just like a lot of us still are.
Mark, I just did some quick Googling, and the Maldives looks incredible.
Oh yes, for sure.
So hopefully that news didn't ruin Dirk and his family's vacation, but as much as I love Dallas, Dallas is quite a downgrade from the Maldives.
Maldives
So he
is
really is a
beautiful.
sainted man for coming back stateside from that resort.
For sure.
He did say in this interview that it was not the worst trip he's ever taken. That's for sure.
I can imagine.
Yes, that is on my bucket list of places to go. The Maldives is gorgeous. This coming courtesy of Michelle Montaigne, who's WFAA sports reporter. Dirk on his text exchange with Luka Doncic following the trade, quote, "He invited me to come out to his game in LA. He was pretty down and disappointed on how it went down, so I wanted to be there for him. But, quote, you guys saw my face. It was weird," end quote. That coming directly from Dirk Nowitzki in terms of the exchange that he had from Luka Doncic. But just, again, offering yet another window into all this from his perspective, but also enlightening us a little bit on some of the feelings from Doncic's perspective, obviously, when it came to this trade.
I mean, look, these guys, we've talked about this so many times, but, it bears repeating. Like, pass the torch is a phrase that we use a lot in sports, but these guys literally had a pass the torch season. Dirk's 21st and final season as a Mav, year one for Luka Doncic. They spent a year as teammates. And honestly, the closeness, I think, between them, it really came after Dirk stopped playing. And they've just gotten closer and closer over these last several years. Of course, Laura Beth Seeger was a huge part of Dirk's, running foundation events for Dirk. She was instrumental in assembling his whole retirement ceremony, that last home game, the game against Phoenix that we'll never forget. And she is now Luka's business manager. So, I mean, there was a natural closeness between Luka and Dirk as teammates, but I think as the years have gone by, they've just gotten even closer. And, Dirk said it a couple times. Luka asked me to come to that game, and Dirk said, "I'm happy I went." Like, obviously, Dirk's very aware of, what it was like for, it was, by his own admission, weird to be there. I don't think super comfortable to be sitting courtside at a Laker game. He said it again tonight. I'm never going to be a Laker fan, but I am a Luka fan, and I'm happy I went. So he felt like Luka asked him to go. He needed to go. He's glad he went. And again, I think, they only played together one season, but they've obviously known each other for 6.5 years. And over that time, they've just gotten closer and closer. And, Luka asked him to be there. How could he not go?
Yeah, that'll forever be a weird scene. Just seeing Dirk Nowitzki sitting there watching Luka in a Laker uniform, one of the more surreal scenes I don't think we obviously ever thought would come to pass. But,
it was the most surreal scene so far.
Yeah.
We're new levels of surreal Tuesday night in LA. And then obviously April 9th is going to be a whole nother level of surreal. So that was just, unfortunately, that was just the surreal appetizer.
We will be doing a watch along.
We will.
That Mavs Lakers game on Tuesday. It starts pretty late, 9 p.m. Central Time tip off. But if you want to stay up late and be happy or be sad or be reminiscent or be whatever with us, we'll be live.
Yeah, it'll be a full house too. We're expecting a few of our friends from some of our other shows to be joining us, I think.
Oh, okay. Cool. I'm down.
I know Jesse for sure is going to be in the house. Maybe Cornelius Hill Jr.
Jesse, basically, he's part of the Mavs squad at this point, isn't he?
He's an honorary member. That's right. Honorary member of the DLLS Mavs crew. Let's turn our attention a little bit to tonight's game. Obviously, with the Mavericks taking on the New Orleans Pelicans, let's get you the injury report going into tonight's game for both teams. Let's start with the Pelicans. Brandon Boston, he's out with the left ankle sprain and illness. Javonte Green is out as he's not with the team currently. Herb Jones is out, of course, with the torn right rotator cuff. Emisi is available. He's dealing with a hyperextended right knee. DeJounte Murray remains out, of course, with the right Achilles tear. Meanwhile, for the Dallas Mavericks, Anthony Davis, Derek Lively II, Caleb Martin, Dwight Powell, and Daniel Gafford all out tonight. But P.J. Washington makes his return after missing the last 3 games with the right ankle sprain. He will be available tonight. Jason Kidd saying that he is not on a minutes restriction either. So P.J. Washington is a full go. Mark, you had reported a couple of days ago with a good practice that there was optimism that PJ Washington will be making his return. That is, in fact, the case tonight, and they're going to need his versatility taking on the Pelicans in the game this evening.
Yeah, they've been hopeful pretty much since getting back to work that PJ was going to be able to make his comeback tonight and play. I think, and I want to underline the word think, I think Dwight Powell will be next, but it's not like tonight or tomorrow. Dwight was formally ruled out for tonight's game. He has not yet had a full contact practice. He was able to partake in some of Thursday's session, but it was non-contact stuff. So, again, Dwight Powell, they did not think Dwight Powell was going to be this is game 15 in a row he's missed. They did not anticipate it being another absence, but I think he's going to need at least a few more days before he's ready to make his comeback. So obviously Moses Brown on a 10-day deal is thrown right into the action. We will see him play some minutes tonight. But, they've been so used to being shorthanded for so long. I don't think there's any more shock to the system. The Pelicans, this was their life the first 2-3 months of the season, and it has been the Mavs' life for I don't even know how long at this point.
That gets us to our Mavericks player spotlight tonight, and we focus in on the aforementioned PJ Washington, as we mentioned, returning tonight after missing the last 3 games due to that right ankle sprain. It was fantastic the last time these two teams got together. 25 points, 14 rebounds, 8 assists in what was a win for the Mavericks over the Pelicans on the road. Washington this year averaging a career high 8.2 rebounds per game and 1.2 steals per contest. He's going to be playing a lot of small ball 5 for this team as this trying to get healthy with the big men that they are missing. They've been missing his versatility quite a bit. But Jason Kidd speaking, Tanner, pregame about the ability for PJ Washington to play the 5 and having a little bit of a joking moment as well when it comes to the guys who may or may not want to be named 5s at this particular point. Take a listen.
I don't know if anybody really wants to be called a 5 on our team right now. Looking at being out there, maybe in that position of a big is guarding him. But also, we got to look at the, Kessler, PJ, understanding Kessler has done really well in this role, and understanding as much as we can label someone a 5, we have to see what the opponent and how they're going to guard PJ and Kessler, who they're going to put the big on. And so for that, to answer your question, we'll probably keep Kessler at the 5 and PJ and his position as labeled. But when it becomes, when the ball goes up, we got to figure out what matchup works best for us.
So PJ Bobby remaining at the 5, or excuse me, Kessler Edwards remaining at the 5 with PJ staying at his quote-unquote natural position. But I imagine as the game ebbs and flows tonight, we'll be seeing a lot of PJ at small ball 5 tonight.
Yeah, I mean, it just kind of depends. Like, Messi and Zion they obviously don't have similar games, but they both score around the rim. Zion obviously is a little more mobile, is going to face you up, try and take you off the bounce. So it makes sense for PJ to get that matchup some of the time, but the more he guards him, the likelier it is to be in foul trouble. Whereas if you're guarding Messi whenever Zion is on the floor, really all you got to do is box him out, try and get good position on him. So I expect a rotation of guys on Zion. I think between those two and, maybe we'll see Omax get out there on him a little bit. Maybe even Max Christie. That's a lot of size. Whew. I don't know. Zion is a pretty unique beast, but and he is just that. If you let him get going, he's unstoppable. I mean, he's an unbelievable player. So we'll see.
Surprise, Mark, as far as the Kessler Edwards remaining at the 5, as far as this lineup is concerned, or pretty much expected given what their situation is right now?
They're 2-0 with Kessler Edwards starting at center, so I'm not surprised. I mean, they've, again, I'm not trying to suggest that anybody should get super excited about this because obviously in the context of everything else happening, even had they won the Philly and Sacramento games, even if this was a 6-game winning streak they were riding going into tonight, like, again, I'm not trying to convince everyone to like, hey, everything is great. But the reality is they have played really well. they have been responding to Jason Kidd. Something else Dirk said on stage. Dirk threw a shout out to his former teammate Jason Kidd to laud him for the way he's held this group together and the response he's gotten from these guys in these last 6 games, because really it could have been a 6-game winning streak, which is crazy to think about. But yeah, I mean, Edwards, he got off to such a rough start as a Mav. Remember, I think he missed his first 8 shots as a Mav, but in this role of, makeshift 5-man, he's found a way to impact the game. And so he deserves to start tonight. The way they played before the break, I think he truly deserves this chance to see if he can do it again. But, as Bobby rightly said, Yves Missi has been a Rookie of the Year contender, just about the lone bright spot of the Pelicans' absolute season of hell. And Zion Williamson, when he's on the court and healthy, is a monster unlike very few in this league. So just because they're starting the game this way doesn't mean that's how they're going to be able to play the bulk of the game. But does Edwards deserve the chance to see if he can keep the success going? For sure. Let him give it a shot. Let's see how small ball works.
That gets us to my biggest X factor for tonight's game as we get ready to end our pregame show. And number one being, if you're the Mavericks, you as a team then have to crash the offensive glass against the Pelicans. The Pelicans this year last in the NBA in terms of defensive rebounding percentage this year. Mavericks averaging 11 offensive rebounds per contest. So Kessler Edwards, PJ Washington, Max, all you guys going to have to crash the offensive glass against a team that is poor in terms of its defensive rebounding abilities. The Mavericks can do that tonight. They can give themselves a chance against this Pelicans team. Mark, as always, we appreciate the time hanging out with us on the pregame show. We know that you have a busy weekend ahead of you as you continue your travels, as we look forward to the Warriors on Sunday and, of course, Tuesday night when the Mavericks take on the Los Angeles Lakers. So we appreciate you hanging out with us on the pregame show tonight.
No matter where I am, Sunday night and Tuesday night, I will be dialing in. I will be with you guys. I will be with you guys as long as technology cooperates. I get nervous, and luckily I think we got through it tonight, but technology willing, I will be there Sunday night and Tuesday night, I promise.
Well, we appreciate you hanging out with us, and we'll talk to you this weekend.
All right, guys. Take care. Be good.
Bye, Mark.
All right, we're going to get out of here on this pregame show and let Nico's burner account continue to spam the chat as we continue to get ready for tonight's game between the Mavericks and the Pelicans. We'll be back here 15 minutes after the game is over with our Mavericks beat writer Tim Kidder reporting live from the American Airlines Center, as well as the Mavericks take on Zion Williamson and the New Orleans Pelicans.
If I can just quickly chime in,
sure.
KG. No matter what your opinion of Nico is, whether it's good or bad, I promise you do not want me running a team. You don't want me running. If you think that Nico got worked in a negotiation,
woo!
I am so bad. KG saw this yesterday. It was early. When was it? Yeah, this was yesterday with the shirt thing.
Oh, yeah, man. Yeah, man.
No more detail needed.
Yeah.
No more detail. I am so weak. I am so soft. You do not want me pulling off a trade talk. I will just be like, fine, have all the picks. Please take them. I don't want them.
Hilarious that you brought that up. That is
please.
Hilarious.
So you do not want me running a team. That's for sure.
We still love you, Bobby. We still love you for sure, man. That's our GM, Ben, Bobby Corella, and our Mavericks analyst as well. I'm your host, Kevin Gray. We'll talk to you in 15 minutes after the Mavericks take on the Pelicans right here on DLLS Sports. Y'all be good. We'll talk to you later. Peace.
We all silly like the mayor.